So Let's Play is leaving. Should we care? I have done quite a few videos on Let's Play. It's no secret that I don't love this webtoon. But recently it was announced that the creator Marie or Mongi would not be continuing on Webtoon. She made a statement on both Twitter and Instagram saying, "Unfortunately, I must report some sad news. I will not be returning with season 4 of Let's Play at Webtoon. This was an incredibly difficult decision and no single event led to it. There have been ongoing difficulties for several years, most of which I can't discuss, nor is this the appropriate forum." There's a bunch more to unpack, but we'll get there later because I have thoughts, so don't worry, we'll get there. Anyways, I thought it'd be fun to go down history lane about the creator, the little scandals they've been in, especially with this letter coming out. I just thought that this statement would be a great addition to this video. So let's start. Diane Krasik, more commonly known as Mongo Marie or Mongi, grew up in what she describes as the white bread baskets Midwest. So she grew up in a family of creatives. Her sister was a storyteller and a writer. Her mother was very good with her hands, so she was great at sewing. Needless to say, she kind of grew up being encouraged to paint and draw. But also, in addition, she also grew up being influenced by her dad, who was a mechanical engineer. So because of that, she became a programmer. She first had a career in computer information systems. She became the head of IT. What I think is so cool is that she always dreamed about being the youngest published comic creator when she was younger, right? And then she ended up being a comic creator who talks about gaming. And personally, I love shit like that. I love when dreams get realized. I love when, people's very young, unfiltered, dreams and aspirations end up being what they end up doing. I think that's so cool. Anyway, let's talk about how Let's Play came about really quickly. She found out about Webtoon through DeviantArt. She came across Girls of the Wilds, which I was like, okay, I'm seeing you because I love Girls of the Wilds too. Then she wanted to make a Webtoon because she liked the vertical scrolling and format and how accessible the platform is. Let's Play is her first original comic. She originally wanted to do fantasy. Then she did research about what comics come out on top, and she found out that the most popping genre is romance. She wanted to make something that she wanted to read, and that's how she ended up making a gaming comic geared towards adults with romance elements and a female main character. She saw a void that she wanted to fill. The idea popped into her head when she watched a Let's Play gamer play a fan-made game and gave it a negative review. And then she thought, what if the Let's Play gamer met the fan? Either way, can I just say, I never knew that Let's Play gaming was a thing. I did not think that was actually a genre of videos, if that makes sense. I didn't know that was a thing. which should tell you how in tune with that kind of content I am. Anyway, so she put it up on Discover. First chapter was posted April 2017, right? And sometimes you'll still be able to find original creators first ever drafts or the webtoons or editions that they put up on Discover, even though you won't be able to see the contents because they basically scrubbed it, and it will basically say something we've moved to original. The first chapter was posted on April 2017. By June of that year, so June 2017, she got an email from her editor saying Webtoon wanted to feature you. By November of that same 2017, released the first episode as a Webtoon original creator. So literally under 6 months. That is insane. That is, am I wrong in saying that's insane? I feel like that's not the timeline for a lot of people. I feel like that's not the timeline for a lot of creators. For you to have that much trajectory in under 6 months, am I crazy for saying that's a little bit unprecedented? Or is that just me? Or is that how it usually works? Anyway, Let's Play went from strength to strength. I've said it before in a past video, but Let's Play is one of those rare webtoons that manages to keep readers engaged, averaging 150,000 likes even as it's nearing its 200 chapter mark. As per, you're still managing to get that much engagement in numbers. Yeah, you're definitely sitting on a gold mine. So Let's Play was definitely not without its little controversies. I thought we'd go through them from the least inoffensive to the most egregious. So let's go. The first one that we have is that Sam is a self-insert and that Marshall is a Markiplier insert. I'd never heard of him before reading this webtoon and hearing all these allegations oh gosh, Marshall is a Markiplier. I was like, who's Markiplier? Which again tells you how how in tune I am with this kind of content. Anyway, Markiplier is a YouTuber like Marshall, who also does the style of gaming that Marshall does. He is also happens to be half Asian, half white like Marshall, and perhaps the most incriminating is that she's done some artwork for him before. So she happened to deny this. She said Sam's health was modeled after a late friend of hers. Sam's anxiety was modeled after Mongi's own anxiety, and feeling like a little kid playing dress up. And then Sam's look, she intentionally tried to give her qualities that were plain. She said that the only prominent, qualities that she gave her was her prominent lips and curves. She wanted an ugly duckling character who felt like she was a little girl trying to play dress up. Again, I did not know who Markiplier was before all of this. So, and because I don't watch his videos, there's no way I can know that for sure that, oh yeah, no, she definitely modeled Marshall after him. Going past careers, them having similar careers, personality too is a big thing. So I cannot tell you whether Marshall's personality is close to this Markiplier's personality. One thing I will say, yeah, is that in the video where she was denying it, because she was doing a I had to watch a lot of videos, right? For this, I had to watch a lot of videos, listen to a lot of her interviews, blah, blah, blah. But in the video where she was denying that, oh, she said, no, I do not, Sam is not a self-insert. The host of the interview had put up an image of Sam, and when she was denying it, I just thought it was so funny because at that moment she did look like Sam. The side swept bangs, the brown hair and glasses. I had to laugh because I was like I had to laugh because she was like, I am not Sam. Sam is not me. Meanwhile, the host was setting her up, putting a picture of Sam right next to her at the time. This whole thing is so low stakes. I'm inclined to believe her and give her the benefit of the doubt. IDK, and personally, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I don't necessarily hate it when authors do self-insert. Like, I don't necessarily hate it. It's only when it gets so indulgent and the story gets so ridiculous because it is warping to suit the demands of this main character who's so obviously a self-insert, and it becomes very biased that I have a problem. Other than that, I don't care. Other than that, it's like, it's whatever to me. So the next one that we have is the last episode, Fiasco. So spoilers for season 3 ending, but essentially what happened is that it was revealed that Samuel, Sam's father, had set up a Sam protective service with agents that were random characters you would have seen in the Webtoon. So the receptionist in the business, the man that sits next to Sam on the bus, 2 random girls jogging, Sam's landlady, the president of the United States for some reason, even Bowser the dog. All of them are all part of this Sam Protective Service agency. Reaction was confused, I'd say. People thought that it was a cheap twist because it's like, oh, okay, random people who didn't have an impact in the story are secret agents in this protective squad, while this father, who we already know is over the top of his daughter. Like, okay. And to make it worse, something I found out while reading the comments was that Webtoon was being messy. Webtoon being very incredibly messy went and advertised the season finale in a disingenuous way to ramp up excitement. Tell me why they went and put one agent saying he isn't who he claims to be. Your daughter is in danger. The implication being Charles. The implication being that it's Charles who isn't who he says to be. Whole time the agent was talking about something entirely different and an entirely different situation that could pose a danger to Sam that would necessitate the revival of the Sam Protective Service. But he wasn't talking about Charles. He was not in any way, shape or form. He was not saying, oh, he's not who he says. Webtoon, stop it. Anyway, then they played up this whole Charles isn't who he says he is, and then they put a fake text of Sam being like, how could you? Mind you, the entire picture was lifted from the previous episode, and Sam didn't say that. She asked, what are you doing with my phone? So it was all a lie.
It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied.
It was a lie. Messy Webtoon with the advertising. If your expectations were raised because of that TikTok Webtoon, I'm not sure how much say Mongi would have had in that kind of advertising, and I have no idea what part she played in it. But seeing as it was advertised on Webtoon's page and Webtoon put the caption, will Charles be able to hide all his red flags before it's too Webtoon is such a corporation. Well, it's just like, anyway, would he be able to hide his red flags before it's too late? Find out in the season finale of Let's Play right now. So I'm gonna give Mongi the benefits of the doubt, just because I remember I saw a tweet of her being like, oh, this isn't what happened or blah blah blah, but I hope readers will love it all the same. I can't remember. Yeah. So yeah, I'm inclined to give her the benefit of the doubt because it's low stakes. Like, even if Mongi herself had advertised the last episode like that, it's still not that deep. You could lose the trust of fans if that was a repeated practice, but it's still not it's not that crazy. It's not that crazy in my opinion. Like, it's not and then in terms of the episode itself and the whole reveal of the secret agent, some people found it funny, some people liked it, some people were confused, felt like it was some kind of April Fool's prank. For me, Sam's dad is already known for being extreme, so this didn't faze me. Secret agents were background characters throughout the story, so it felt more like a cameo than anything else. It didn't necessarily feel unfulfilling as an end to a season, as others may have felt, just because the story as a whole never fulfilled me. My cup does not feel empty because the cup was never runneth over. Right? For me, Webtoon, it doesn't feel like a failure because I never loved the Webtoon, Taking into account that this was potentially the end of the story, not just the season, just because of what we know now, just because we know season 4 may not be coming back to Webtoon. Okay, yeah, I can see how that's not great. But for me, it's whatever. Now, if Mongi really wanted to gag the girls, if Mongi really wanted to shake shit up, she would have made Charles one of the agents in the protective service. Ooh, now, walk with me. She have made Charles one of the agents, right? And then we now have a reason as to why the dad does not like Charles, because he's like, yo, I just put you in her life to be her boss, to be a friend of a friend. You were not supposed to end up with this girl. You were not supposed to end up with my daughter. But of course, he can't reveal it, because then it'd be like, oh yeah, me, your father, put up all these agents in your life. That's why he can't be like, oh, Sam, my dear, Charles is not who he says he is, because if he did that, he would reveal that he did all of this. And then for Charles, it'd be like, oh, it started out as a job for me, but no, I actually really like you. Now, the moral implications, yeah, that's where we're going to have a problem. And that's where we need to be very careful, because you'd have to have stopped, at least when the story starts, we'd have had to have made it clear that Charles had stopped reporting to her dad. And that's also part of his frustration, because he's like, why am I not getting any reports back? But it's because he has started to gain feelings for her, right? And he's like, oh, this is weird. Oh my gosh. Right? Tell me I didn't just come up with something cool right now. Tell me I didn't just this was off the dome. This was off my head. But yeah, that's if she wanted to gag the girls. That if she wanted to shake shit up. It's giving Blacklist. I don't know, have you guys ever watched Blacklist? Because right now I came up with this theory. I wrote this script since last year, and I only started watching the Blacklist this year, and I realized this plot that I just came up with, it reminds me of the Blacklist, of Raymond Reddington putting up what's his name, Tom Keane, inside Elizabeth's life. That's what it reminds me of. Anyway, my mind. Someone give me a budget. So the next fiasco was the Sam and Charles Valentine Day drawing. So basically what happens is that she drew both of them younger, Sam as an 8 to 9 year old and Charles as a 16 to 17 year old. Objectively, it's not that deep. This is going to be short. Objectively, it's not that deep. If I'm a stranger looking at this picture, it's just a kid with a little crush on someone older. Happens all the time, and she's giving him a Valentine's Day card. There's nothing about the drawing itself that is inherently sexual nor inappropriate. Knowing the context of the relationship, it's a little but I think it's only because Sam as an adult is somewhat infantilized. That's another little layer that we have. I can see why people are They're a little bit like, okay, head scratch, but it is mostly innocuous, right? Okay, that's where I'm gonna leave it there, because yeah. The next one that we have is the Charles cuddle. Okay, so this is the second to last episode, right? Charles wanted to have sex, Sam wanted to cuddle. Then it cuts to an image of them in bed together. People got from that he pressured her into rolling in the hay. The argument that someone kind of like summarized is that I think Monkey doesn't understand that if you're writing a PG rated story, you self-censor sex scenes, you have to be explicit in other ways like dialogue. Otherwise, every scene in bed is ambiguous and seems like they may have had sex, especially a scene where he wanted to have sex, but she was tired and said she just wanted to cuddle. Without explicitly saying that they just cuddled, it can seem like he forced her. She actually took up to Twitter denying that, citing they were still wearing clothes. Charles's hair wasn't messed up. Charles would never coerce or pressure someone into sex. That would be the opposite of what gets him off. I wish that wording was different. I wish she would have said that he's not a, like a great, but what do I know? What do I know? I wish it wasn't. I wish she hadn't said, oh, coercing someone is not what gets him off. Like, I just, I don't know. Something about that, I don't know. I'm trying to pull the thread of what I don't like from that statement there. But, like, I wish it was just like, oh, yeah, he's a decent human being. Not that, oh, coercing someone doesn't get him off. Yeah, I'm saying. Anyway, once it was clear that she wasn't being shy or insecure, he backed off. Now, if you want my opinion, I think one of the concerns was that it took 2 times of her saying no for him to back off. But yeah, personally, I didn't think that I didn't get that, that they rolled in the hay. From reading that, I thought, yeah, okay, they just cuddled. Like, that was my immediate reaction. Like, me, I don't love this webtoon, but my first instinctual reaction was like, oh yeah, they cuddled. Just because personally that's what I got from the context clues. And secondly, there's no way, like, I just don't think she would have written Charles to be someone who's coercive in bed, just because, like, that's just not good PR. Like, I just don't think she would have done that. I was uncomfortable with the pushing. I was in fact uncomfortable with the pushing and him being like, let's do it, and I took 2 times. But other than that, like, I personally just thought they ended up just cuddling. Okay, so then we get to the link scandal. Now, this one is funny because this was probably the first one, just because I'm not involved in Webtoon fandom. So this one was the first one that I knew about, just because I remember making a video about it, like a TikTok or whatever. The abbreviated version is that after 80-something chapters of Link pining over Sam and wanting to be with her, they're in a car together and Sam's leaning into a kiss. He very bluntly says, I don't find you attractive. And then after that, he starts liking Sam's friend Angela. Then in episode 114, Vicky confronted Angela. He was angry at Link for, rejecting Sam. And Vicky's asking why Angela is ignoring Link. And Vicky basically said, ideally, Link should have sorted his feelings out before pursuing her. But it's better he cleared things up before it got too serious. And though his wording could have been better when he broke the news, I don't think it's fair to assume that people should know what the right thing to say. Now, some readers didn't like that. They didn't like that at all. Mongi went on to say in tweets, I'm not lecturing to readers in my comic, regardless of how personally you may take it. And thanks to the hostile fans ruining his character for me. And I assure you, no one hates Link more than I do. Now, I already included this in my last Let's Play video, but I just thought that was so funny. I thought it was hilarious. Kudos to her, because look, that was probably the first and last time that I ever laughed in this. That was probably the first and last time I ever laughed in this webtoon. At most, I was annoyed that it took us so long to get there. Come on, 80-something chapters. Why did I just waste my time? Okay, I won't say waste, but why did I have to read all of that? Just was not to get where we wanted to get. Anyway, I don't think she should have received hate for that. Do I think she was kind of responding to readers? Yeah, I do. She has denied this, so this is purely my opinion, but it did feel incredibly heavy-handed and too on the nose to not be somewhat influenced by readers' responses. But even if it was lecturing readers, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's not a bad lecture to spread. Link not liking Sam like that, just like anyone not liking you in the real world, is not that deep. I think people people had more of a problem with the way it was done. Yes, saying I don't find it attractive is rather blunt, but quite honestly, it was the funniest thing to happen in that entire webtoon because it was so blunt and it was so out of nowhere and it was so ridiculous. I don't think she should have received backlash for that. If anything, it's more so something that can affect the storytelling quality, but other than that, I don't know. Okay, so now we have gotten to the most egregious, and this is very different in tone, by the way, to the other. So the other was very small play. This, we are getting to Discord racism. We are getting to the alleged racism. If you hear me laughing in this, it's just because what I'm seeing is so ridiculous. But other than that, it's a very serious topic. But if you hear me laughing, that's just because it's like, oh my god. So I've spoken a little bit about this in one of my videos, how readers of color felt a little bit uncomfortable with the portrayal of characters of color in her story. What I didn't talk about, because I did not know at that time, was the Discord fiasco that ensued. So I'm just going to read, the screenshots and give commentary as I go, just because it was really crazy. Okay, so basically the first person says, and by the way, can you imagine just being this person? I mean, like, I just want to ask an innocent question. Like, I do not think all of this would ensue from just my simple, should have been answered really briefly question. Person asks, Mongi, is Vicky Korean or Chinese? I assume Korean due to her last name, but I just want to confirm. Money then goes on to say, this may sound weird, but I don't want to say, because if I don't, then she could be both or either and more inclusive. She could be both or either and more inclusive. Someone then said, can she be half Korean, half Chinese? Then someone else said, I think what Mongi is saying that she can be whatever you want her to be. Please keep quiet. Someone then said, TBH, that's like saying Dean can be whatever insert Hispanic you want him to be. Ooh, sense. Anyway, they went to say vaguely Asian is a generalization I'm not super comfortable with, especially as a Filipino, Chinese, Spanish person. Then that same person who said she can be whatever you want her to be comes and says fair, but leaving it up to readers' personal preference can make it easier for readers to see the representation they want in the story. Girl, this isn't like YN either having blonde hair or brown hair. Let's keep it cute. Let's keep it quiet. It's more impactful to see someone in screen and print, knowing that someone looks like them or shares their background, rather than, well, I guess that's kind of like me, maybe. Then the person who kept it cute from the start says, you're right, and that was my privilege showing. Apologies. You were going so well. You were nearly there. You should have just zip after that one. They want to say, but it's ultimately up to Mongi to decide when and if she wants to explore Vicky's heritage more. Maybe we'll get there eventually. No one is saying you should have explored the intricacies of culture, her heritage. All you had to say was, is Vicky Korean or is she Chinese? And even then, the bar is so low. The bar is in hell, where you probably didn't even have to answer that question. Then person sent says, that still doesn't make it right regardless. All creators should be aware and accountable if they're going to incorporate characters as a way to show diversity and inclusivity. Leaving it purposefully vague is harmful and can alienate readers. Fine, she's half Chinese, half Korean then. Like, fine. Like, here, damn. Just FYI, the more specific I am about any of my characters' race, the more backlash I get for being inherently racist. This may be unpopular, but I actually think this system is set up for white people. So yes, unless you were raised in a vacuum, unless you were raised in the wilderness, you probably have racist tendencies. Because once a character's race is labeled, some people will look for reasons as to why I'm being offensive to that specific race. This is the main reason I'd prefer not to state individual races and just have the character's personality be the defining characteristics. It goes on to say, there is this weird dichotomy with race when it comes to writing. If race isn't inherent to the story, there's no reason not to be more inclusive. I agree. All characters are equal regardless of race, religion, etc. However, the more specific I am, the more I am told I'm racist because I even felt the need to specify. Oh, Vicky is Korean, huh? Why isn't she Chinese? You have a problem with Chinese people? You have a problem. Why did you need to specify? You favor one over the other. How many people really said that to you? Let's start. How many? Count. Tell me now. How many people really said that? How many people would have said that? How many people would have said, oh, Vicky's that whole... No. Don't piss me off. Don't annoy me. Mommy, don't annoy me here. How that's like, again, I always try to bring it back to me so that I'm not talking for other people. But nobody would have been mad if someone says, oh, this character is Congolese or this character is Ghanaian, because we don't see each other as substitutes for the other. Why on earth would Korean and Chinese be in the same sentence unless you yourself were seeing them as substitutes for each other? Nobody would have been like, oh, Vicky is Korean, huh? Why isn't she Chinese? There are so many different Asian countries. Why would anyone be like, yeah, am I making sense here? If you had clearly stated from the beginning, oh, Vicky is this, no one would have been like, oh, why isn't she? Am I making sense here? Because this just seems so crazy to me and so like unhinged. If someone wrote a character that's Ghanaian, or someone wrote a character that's from Zimbabwe or South Africa, I would not be sitting here saying, why isn't she Nigerian? I'd just be like, oh, okay. She then said, when the truth is, Vicky is just Vicky to me, and it doesn't matter what race she is in my head. Her personality is all that matters to me as a creator. I chose the surname Song not because it's an Asian sounding name, just because it's a hippie sounding name. Victoria Willow Song sounded very hippie tree hugging in my ears, and it also happens to be a common Korean and Chinese surname. If people think I don't specify what race she is because they think I'm a person who says all Asians look the same, then I find that extremely hurtful. Well, that is kind of Maggie, you're so annoying. What the hell? I find that extremely hurtful. Also, do you see how they kind of just center their own feelings in this kind of discussion? Anyway, then she follows on to say, after saying what she said, that she finds it hurtful about the allegation that Mongi thinks that all Asians look the same. She said, and the reason I drew Vicky in a cheap out, because I really wanted to draw the outfit as an artist, and I figured Vicky was the only character I could draw that on without being told it's cultural appropriation.
Stop. What do you mean by that?
You're so unhinged. Because what do you mean? You know, when you just talk, you should just been from the start. Because what do you mean you wanted to draw her in that dress, but she's the only one you could feasibly draw her in without it being cultural appropriation? But you realize, is it not the Chinese? Like, so what the fuck are you talking about? That is a Chinese traditional outfit. So what are you talking about?
If 2 + 2 is 4, right? And 5 + 5 is 10. Okay. What the fuck is this? I didn't see.
Because if why do you talk? Why do you talk? That's like, again, I have to bring. And by the way, this is so funny because it's such a relevant conversation happening right now. I won't talk too much. I won't say too much. Or I won't say any African country, right? Because I don't want you guys to catch strays. I'm so sorry. But I'm Nigerian. And there's a very interesting conversation happening about how non-Nigerians, other African but non-Nigerians, other African countries who are not Nigerians, happen to be wearing Nigerian traditional outfits from whatever tribe they happen to pick from for their own celebrations, for their weddings. You will see a non-Nigerian wedding and you'll be like, oh, is that a Yoruba bride? Whole time they're not even Nigerian. So it's a very interesting conversation that's happening about cultural appropriation happening within African countries. So for you to just be like, oh yeah, I feel like Vicky, who I have not specified which Asian country she comes from, like Vicky was the only one I could have used to, wear to put this cheaper outfit, because I just really wanted to dress her in that. I just really wanted to draw the outfits. Mongi. Anyway, she was wanted to say stuff like, oh, I frequently hear from some very vocal readers that they're tired of hearing how Marshall is half Japanese. Who said that?
Who is saying that? Who said that?
That Dean is Latinx. Every time I try to throw a breadcrumb of cultural reference relating to any character's heritage of racial lineage, I'm slapped down and told I'm racist. Now, who is telling you that? And are you able to dissect who is being a racist, right? Who is being a racist and being the ones who are saying, oh, this is so woke? Who is that crowd? Who are being racist and who is actually like being a normal reader? Right? Okay, let's continue. Charles's references to being Welsh is apparently free game and no one has a problem with it. If anything, it's encouraged because he's white. Because he's white. Because he's white. You're so close. Because he's white. Anyway, I'm told race doesn't matter and we should be more inclusive. Then I'm later told race of a character does matter and I need to be more specific. Do you understand where I'm coming from here? There's literally is no correct answer I can give, and even trying to defend my stance can be seen as offensive by some. Ultimately, I'm not comfortable talking about the race of my characters anymore. Chatters are welcome to discuss it amongst themselves, but I will no longer be answering or addressing a question about a character specific race. Guys, I just want to make a fun comic people can read and enjoy. That's all. I'm sorry if people think I'm being insensitive or need specific representation in order for my work to be less harmful. Then, guys, after that, this person now went to come and say, thanks for sharing that. Now, to address something, Mongi has been attacked over race repeatedly. I understand individual discomfort, but in this instance, her discomfort drops any. Oh God, white people just keep quiet. White people just keep quiet. White people, bim. Now, let's return to the topic. This is about individual let's play character. Mongi's discomfort of being confronted with the fact that, hey, maybe you have biases. Hey, maybe you should do some internal work, some self-reflection. Mongi's discomforts are being confronted with a very uncomfortable thing, a very real life thing that people of color have to deal with on a daily basis. It trumps the actual racism. It trumps your actual people of color's feelings. That's what she said. That's what she basically said. You know how I said earlier about, centering your own discomfort and your own feelings? The fact that you were sad. You know what I think? People get more offended about being called racist than the actual racism. They get more offended because it's mean. It's like, oh, you call me a racist. Instead of them to do the work, to look within themselves. Apparently, this person apologized. This person who went and did took their mouth off. But that is such a wild thing to come and say. Anyway, someone then said, I'll be honest, I think it's very disheartening we haven't heard from Mongi in response to all of this, etc., etc. Then Mongi now went and put in 2 longer statements. God, it has come to my attention that people are you're so unserious. It has come to my contact that people are threatening to contact Webtoon and attempt to get my comic cancelled because I failed to acknowledge a racial conversation on the server. Firstly, I didn't ignore it. I addressed it. My response needed further explanation, so I did so. I never accused anyone specifically of attacking me. Only addressed the concerns stated. Then I explained that specific character race isn't something I'm comfortable discussing. I bowed out the conversation, but monitored. Well, you could have told your little minions, your little I don't know. I don't use Discord, so I don't. Is this a moderator? The person who said your discomfort, doesn't trump Mongi's discomfort. You could have told all the white people to keep it quiet. I don't, in my opinion. She then said, I didn't feel it was necessary for me to contribute further. I even said that purely defending myself would be seen as offensive. I didn't know how I attacked the fans of Charles's fans. Keep quiet. Keep quiet. This is not about you. I don't know, but don't lump them in. Don't lump in Charles's fans who somehow got offended, who somehow caught a stray. Don't lump them in with the very real concerns of people of color. Whether you think I'm playing the victim or not, I am the spearhead of this comic. I receive feedback to a level I don't think most readers realize. I generally don't go into racial specifics because A, seeing it come back to me in a very hostile manner. B, seeing commenters go after each other in a hostile manner. C, seeing it cause conversations about let's play to turn into the perpetuation of stereotypes. Well, hence why I specifically do not want to go into specifics of a character's race. I'm sorry if some readers need more specific representation in the comics they consume, and I apologize if I didn't seem sensitive enough to those concerns. All I can do is try to be more open-minded going forward, and try better to ensure more readers are comfortable with the comic. Mongi then, no, this is a long one, no. Guys, this is a long one. This is a long one. I'm going to scan. Sorry, I'm going to skip because this is way too long for me. I'm so sorry. There were tweets outside of this server of various statements, some of which said they were going to contact Webtoon and that Let's Play was headed to be cancelled. Let's be so, I get it, but I feel like maybe you doomsday that a little bit, because Webtoon is a corporation. You are not going to be cancelled. At that moment in time, you were like, you were going to be okay. Don't worry. She then says, yes, for 1 hour and 20 minutes, I responded to someone's tweet on Twitter, referring to them as a shorthand version of their Discord name. In that moment, I was shocked because I thought we were friends and I wasn't sure how to proceed further with contacting them. For the same length of time, I shared the tweet in a private channel behind a paywall after they made a message about it in that chat. In that moment, I felt that if they decided it was acceptable to call me out in a public manner, I would do the same even if it was in a private channel. I admit that was an emotional response on my part and I apologized to them personally for it. Then she basically said, alright y'all, you guys are on your own. I will no longer be active on the server. She will become a bot only to post announcements. I've wanted to avoid doing this for a long time, but I think it's for the best. This seems to eventually happen to all Webtoon creators Discords, and I hope that I'll be the lucky one, blah blah blah. Yeah, can I just say, this Charles's fans, and like, what is the link? Maybe it's because I was not on the Discord at that time, but what is the link between Charles's fans? Like, what is the Venn diagram? Someone draw me a Venn diagram of Charles's fans and people concerned about racism, because I'm a bit confused. Like, let me try and get this right. You went and you picked a racially or ethnically ambiguous last name for your character, in which you have not. You have also kept purposefully ambiguous. You went and picked a surname for her, thinking that, oh, it's just a hippie sounding name, not because of anything. You've not detailed what ethnicity this character is. And you said the reason why you use her is because you wanted to draw this character in a cheap how. And then when someone asked you, hey, is this person Chinese or is she Korean? You said, hey, you know what? Actually, she could be both, just because it's double the inclusivity. Let's be so for real right now. Let's be so serious right now. Did you or did you not want to try and get away with a read one, person of color get one free? Like that kind of situation. Like, tell me, like, please, let's be so serious right now. Let's be so serious right now. Like, have you guys heard of Yellowface? Long and short of it, and the context pertaining to this situation, so basically there's this white woman who steals a manuscript from someone else who wrote a story about the contributions of Chinese laborers in World War One. So this white woman steals that manuscript. She changes her name, markets her name as, instead of it being June Hayworth, which is her real name, she changes it to Juniper Song. A very, you know, kind of racially, ethnically ambiguous name to kind of push that book. And that's, you know, what I thought about. That's what I thought about. Anyway, so that was it. That's basically my thoughts about that whole entire thing. I just thought it was so, it's just, you know, you put your foot in your mouth. What else can I say? You put your foot in your mouth. It did not need to go that far. And again, the bar is in hell. So quite honestly, people are ready to applaud you for basically nothing. So I don't know why you just had to do what you did. And instead of you to take that as a moment, self-reflect as to why you think people from two separate countries can be substitutes for each other. I don't know why you thought, yeah, that's perfectly okay and that's perfectly fine. Anyway, so that was it for that one. No. We will now get on to the grace section of this video. Personally, yeah, I get it. It's hard to filter out hate. And personally, I think that we're not meant to hear people's opinions on you and about your work in mass, right? On a grand scale, whether good or bad. Like, I don't think we're meant to hear people's opinions on that thing. And I think working the way creators work can be physically and mentally straining, in sense, like, you know, artists and writers, I think that can be physically and mentally straining. And I think that reading comments about all of that can be, you know, very crazy. Contracts and all that stuff can be very stressful, and I think it's hard to filter out hate. I am of the personal opinion that online personalities, being famous, anyone who has to have like a platform, I find it weird for the fact that you can get criticized on a mass scale. Now I'm talking about for regular things. I'm not talking about bigotry. I'm not talking about bigotry, especially when I said, you know, I think we're not meant to hear people's opinions on you and your work. I'm talking about other things separate of bigotry, right? If you're a regular person, chances are you're only getting criticized from the people in your life. If you mess up in your personal life, your family and your friends will hold you to task. If you mess up in school, your teachers will hold you accountable. If you mess up at work, it will be your boss that holds you accountable. So it's limited to certain situations, and we get grace in not having to have our mistakes and our mess ups shown to the entire world. So I think, and this isn't like Mongi specific, I've held this opinion for a long time. I just think that when you get a lot of criticism, even if it's not hate, it can be hard. In general, it can be hard. And I think, could it be fun feeling like you're not able to do what you want to do with your story because random reader 123 feels entitled because they paid fast pass? Also, like, other creators have cited that Webtoon is allegedly unsupportive. I made a whole video about it, and so it's not like she's pulling her feelings out of thin air. Her feelings about Webtoon, it's not like she's pulling them out of thin air. I also know that Webtoon doesn't allow you to like block out certain comments. It can be crazy, but that's kind of where my grace ends. You know, I think some of the other stuff was a bit ridiculous. Like the first little scandals, they were ridiculous. They weren't that deep. Just the stereotypes, the doubling down, the playing the victim. I thought that was just so weird and so strange. So this brings us to the letter that she penned. Let's get into her statement. I'm going to like really just pick out the things that stood out to me. So this was an incredibly difficult decision and no single event led to it. There have been ongoing difficulties for several years, most of which I can't discuss, nor is this the appropriate forum. But some concerns include Let's Play being excluded from marketing, despite promises to the contrary, and placing Let's Play behind an age gate, when there are series with far more controversial content that isn't restricted. My representation has voiced these concerns and others to the necessary individuals at Webtoon. The blame was reflected back at me for incredibly far-fetched reasons. These issues, among many others, have made me feel marginalized and that Webtoon does not value Let's Play or me. Let me put my hands up here. Let me give grace. A lot of other Webtoon creators have stated that Webtoon, again, I said this in one of my other videos, what do I call it? Webtoon has a problem. A lot of other creators have said, hey, Webtoon will promise marketing, allegedly, and then they won't follow through, allegedly. So she's not pulling this out of thin air. Problems with Webtoon as a platform, Webtoon as a business, like that is not out of thin air. Her voicing concerns, her team voicing concerns, and then it not, being no resolution in sight, that is not out of thin air. I will come back to the rest of what she said in this paragraph. She then went on to say, on top of this, I have been watching other creators courageously voice their concerns, particularly over the last year. Whether it has been about the ad campaign that considers a profession a side hustle, the pay disparity for late-term creators, which is Latin American creators, the ongoing lack of transparency and errors in accounting that I've experienced personally, Webtoon is no longer the right platform for me or Let's Play. No one is more disappointed with this outcome than I am, but I know that I will continue Let's Play once I'm contractually able to do so and will be able to return to the new season unburdened. I believe Let's Play will be even better as a result of what this freedom brings, and when the time is right, I will announce when and where season 4 will launch. That's pretty okay. I have nothing to say in that paragraph. But there will be other exciting news about Let's Play and some new projects in the coming months, and I am eager to make those announcements. Until then, I look forward to when I can tell the story of Let's Play again, and we can get back to enjoying our beloved characters as they experience new things and continue to level up. So a couple of things. Again, I completely understand frustrations and I sympathize with frustrations, from Webtoon side. Like being like, hey, Webtoon promised marketing. They're not following through on that, allegedly. Hey, Webtoon has said, just go watch my video. Just go watch my video because there was just a lot of things. But I will have to say, this age gate thing, I'm so sorry. I think that is just so, because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, but you still did the thing. If you are like writing content that is a little bit more mature, yes, expect for it to be age gated. In fact, it's funny because there was a period in time when Let's Play was chilling, right? But other, like, especially smaller webtoons will be hit with as soon as you click on a chapter, it'll be like, oh, are you, I can't remember what that pop-up says, but something about your age. Like I get it, where it's like, it feels like they're coming at me, but there are other people who are doing the same thing. But at the same time, you're doing the same thing. So, unfortunately, does that make sense? Like, you are doing the thing. that will get you age gated. Yes, it's unfortunate that there are other people who are apparently getting away with it, but if you're doing the thing, expect to expect to get hit with it. It's all number one. Number two is her saying that she feels marginalized. I just think that that's a very wild thing to say. Saying that you feel marginalized is just a very wild thing to say, knowing your history of characters of color stereotypes in your website. That's what I'm gonna say. When I saw that word marginalized, I was like, huh? Marginalized? Girl. Anyway, then she went on to say, been watching other creators courageously voice their concerns. See how she said, I've been watching. Why didn't you speak up? Because I said in that video,
my opinion, I think things will only change if like the biggest heavy hitters were like, yeah, Webtoon, what's going on? Maybe if they chimed in, then you could probably get way more transparency. But other than that, I'm not sure how this could change.
And the only way that message will get through is if people with bigger platforms, people with a bigger reader base are like, yeah, this is what's happening, these are my problems, blah blah. And yeah, you didn't say anything, you didn't show support. You don't have to like divert attention to you, but you could have showed support. Well, actually, I don't know. How do I know? Maybe she read. Oh god, all I'm saying is that you could have shown support. You could be like, yeah, I completely agree, go look at their thread, go do blah blah, this is very important stuff they're talking about. But you did you say anything? No, because I checked. But if you said something, let me be the first to say sorry that I said you didn't say anything. If you didn't say anything, why are you now only bringing it up when you're in hot water? But before, when they were talking, you didn't want to talk. Especially bringing up like Latin American creators, when they bring up the paid disparity, you as one of the highest, like, you're one of the top creators at Webtoon. So when you did not voice your support, then you're only now talking now just because you're seeing that. You see, when we talk about intersectionality, you people don't want to hear. I feel like there were times when she could have used her privilege, not just only, having a huge platform, not just that, but also her privilege of being a white woman. You could have been like, hey, yeah, guys, they're talking about some very important things right now, like listen to them, read their webtoons, go support them, blah blah blah. You didn't say shit. You didn't say she. You kept it. You were so quiet. You were so quiet during time. You thought you were safe. You thought you were cool. You thought you were chilling. You thought Webtoon would never do that to me. Oh no. This is a smaller creator problem. This is a creator of color problem. It's not going to come back to me. It's not going to come back to hate me. Boom. Then what? It came back to hit you. Anyway, that's it. That's what I wanted to pick from all of this. It would hurt regardless if you were promised something and then you didn't get it. Like if Webtoon said, hey, we're going to promote that X amount of times, right? And then you didn't get it. That would be annoying. But again, you are one of the most popular Webtoons. Compared to the others, you are very much promoted. You cannot, and again, you can't get away with having no maturity rating just because others are getting away with it. Especially because you're a huge Webtoon with a lot of readers. So if other small Webtoons are not getting age gated, because not a lot of people are probably reading it. Again, on a contractual level, it's annoying. Accounting your money, that is very annoying. I will say that. But saying that you are marginalized when there are marginalized creators, who are being treated like dirt, you do not speak up for them. You are only invoking the struggle now that you are facing problems. But before at least to my knowledge, again, I'll be the first to say sorry if you spoke about it. But to my knowledge, you didn't say anything. It's a little bit like,
Honestly, I also feel like a lot of this was kind of inevitable. By that I mean just her leaving Webtoon was a little bit inevitable, just because the writing has been on the wall for quite some time. She's kind of hinted a little bit about her problems with Webtoon. I say hinted very loosely, I don't want to put words in her mouth. But if you check her old tweets, you can kind of see as far back as 2020, she's kind of been like, look, the reason why Let's Play hasn't returned. I can't talk about it. It's complicated, etc., etc. Other tweets in 2021 being like, look, it isn't back to contractual negotiations. That's the full truth. Webtoon and I want to protect our own best interests, and as a result, it can take longer to come to an agreement on things. And she hinting a little bit about how Webtoon has digital exclusivity for 3 years. Reminds me of when she said in her letter, being like, at the end of her letter, when she said, and I'm able to come back to Let's Play. It's a little bit of how it's like, I'm sure Webtoon has like rights to these things. She can't just continue it on another platform. It's another callback to like the censoring, and her being like, I'm being censored right now, and that's delaying me uploading, and they'll also be age gating Let's Play from now, which I'm totally fine with. Which, I'm sure she's like, no, I'm not fine with this. But yeah, so that's just to kind of say that, the writing has kind of been on the wall for a while now, and it was only a matter of time, quite honestly.
So yeah, that's it for this statement. I'll just like say that, look, this Webtoon is fine. This Webtoon is fine. Mangi, she will be fine. Whether with this Webtoon, whether she goes on to create another Webtoon, she will be completely fine. Don't you worry about her numbers that she has. She will be okay. The amount of like followers that she has on platforms, especially just because even again, the numbers that she was able to amass on Let's Play, that's number one. The followership she was able to amass on Let's Play, who knows how much her Patreon and stuff has, that's number two. Number three, the comic is Eisner nominated. On her bio it says creator of the Eisner and Ringo nominated Webtoon. She's okay, she's chilling. And another thing is that she's even creating like a Let's Play dating game. She created a Kickstarter for it. It passed its goal in Lord knows how quick. Like, it literally, she's fine. She's going to be very much okay. This white woman will be very fine. Mangi will be fine when she's able to like continue the story, maybe legally, because I'm sure Webtoon has some kind of like rights. I don't know. Let me not say what I don't know, but I'm sure like she won't be able to make it in like a different platform just yet. So she'll be okay. She'll be chilling. She's fine. Like, she's okay. So yeah, that is that for this video. I'm wondering how I'm going to edit all of this. I just thought, let me do voiceover because I don't know, I just didn't feel like doing it my regular setup. So yeah, so that's it for this video. Also, I've been getting people being like, hey, will you do a review for season 3? I don't know, just because I feel like I'll be rehashing the same things I said for the past seasons. So I don't know, like what else can I say? I just feel like I've said everything. Maybe I'll reread it because I've read it just because I thought I was going to do a review, but then I was like, what can I say here? What can I really say? But I don't know, maybe I'll reread it just like get a fresh perspective and see what I can come up with. But otherwise, like, I just feel like I'll be rehashing. So yeah, that's it. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and yeah, hope you enjoyed. Bye. Oh, and let me know if you prefer this faceless video, right? And let me know about the sound quality. Let me know what you think. Anyway, yeah, bye.